of stuff, like me carrying it down the hallway there, that's not such a good idea. So at home, doing stuff like having it on the kitchen bench, setting up the change mat on the kitchen bench, having a hose that you just fill it up from, and all these baths usually got bungs in the bottom where you can undo it and it all flushes down the sink. So keep it as easy as possible. You do not need to bath them every day. Every second or third day is fine. And that with the new babies, we don't bath them on their first day. So the first day, they've got this really thick white stuff like butter on their skin that's called vernix, and we like that to soak in. So we leave that, and we're more focused on the skin to skin and the breastfeeding than washing them. And so it might be the next day that you decide, yep, cool, let's bath the baby, or it might be a few days down the track before you actually bath the baby. And so they are not stinky and sweaty and smelly like us, they're beautiful. They just need a bath just to have a little bit of a freshen up. And so it's more about just soaking them in the bath, not rubbing at them. We don't have any products in the bath, it is just water. So everyone will be giving you those Johnson's & Johnson's products. We recommend that you don't use those until they're 3 months old. So just water in the bath. Okay, and the evening time tends to be the better time because they are usually quite grumpy in the evenings, but it can be whenever you want. I've done a couple of things, like I always make sure I cut my fingernails when I know I'm going to bath the baby, so short fingernails, and taking off rings and watches and stuff so you know you're not going to damage their skin while you're dealing with them. It is really tricky learning how to undress and dress a baby. My husband used to worry about breaking their fingers, putting it through the sleeves and stuff because they're so little, but they usually have their little fists like this, so they help you do that kind of stuff. With the bath, you need to make sure that you're in a nice warm room, especially when they are newborn. When they're newborn and they're undressed and in the water, they get cold. So you need to make sure that they're nice and warm in a warm room without any drafts. Anybody know the temperature of the bath? Anybody read that anywhere? Or how do we, it's about 36, 37 degrees. And how do we check? How do we check the temperature? Anybody? You can get thermometers. Once he's out, I'll let you guys come and feel the water, and so you check it with your fingers and your wrist, or with your elbow. So you can see with him, as soon as I started undressing him, he's unhappy, so they don't like it being undressed. And I'll just show you quickly, whenever you're going to pick them up, put your hand in behind their head, other hand underneath their bottom, pick them up like that. So their head is the heaviest bit, so you make sure it's well supported. So for the first little bit, so I'll show you again, I'll slide my hand underneath their head, other hand underneath their bottom. So for the first little bit, you leave the nappy on, okay? So while the water is really nice and clean, you leave the nappy on. So that's that little action he's done with his arms. When they're inside you, you've got your womb and they move and that's it. All of a sudden they come out and they've got all this space and they do lots of this. So remember to keep them wrapped up. So wrap up their little arms, and that keeps them much happier. So for this first little bit, this is why guys are really good at bathing babies, because you get to hold them like a rugby ball underneath your arm. So underneath your arm, fingers supporting their head. So nice clean cloth, we give you these nice soft cloths in here. So while the water's clean, you're going to do their face, okay? So if the eyes are open, put the cloth in the corner of their eye, do a gentle wipe out. Their eyes get real sticky. Does anybody know what to put in a baby's sticky eyes? Breast milk. So you squirt a little bit of breast milk into the eye and just wipe it across and it clears up sticky eyes. Then you do the rest of their face. Checking you out. So once you've done their face, then you do their hair. You've got a good bit of hair, haven't you? So you don't need to use any shampoos or anything in their hair, just giving them a good soak. So he's totally hungry. So everyone see the little tongue action? That's the things to look out for before crying to show that they're hungry. So they can't see much when they first come out. They usually like looking at the lights because they can see the bright light. So give their hair a nice rinse. Oh dude, your balls are stuck. Awesome. Right, avert your eyes if you don't want to see baby poo. So that is the colour of baby poo. So it's quite green and it's real sticky. So that's the meconium, okay, that we first see. And usually once you've got a few feeds, it goes quite yellow. Alright, so once you've got that off, then you're going to put their head on your wrist, thumb and finger around their arm, other hand underneath the bottom, so you've got a really good hold of them, and just down into the water. And it's just nice and slow, you don't give them too much of a fright. Once you've got them in the nice warm water, then get 1 or 2 nice heavy flannels. Hands are flinging around the place like his was, and you just hold their little hands, hold them still so they can't fling them around the place. And usually with the nice heavy flannel over the top of them, they totally love it and they calm down. They love their feet pushed up against the end of the bath. He's very alert. He's totally looking around the place. Hello. You're like, who are you? Where's your mum? Oh, yep, so you've still got the cord clamp on. Any ideas how long the cord takes to drop off fully? So about 5 to 8 days, yeah. And you just don't fiddle with it. Just soak it in the bath and dry around it carefully and that's it. Okay, so don't try and rub it or anything. When you pull them out of the bath initially, they'll be quite wet, so you pick them up like I did, dry around their main parts of their body, so they're starting to get nice and dry. Once I unwrap him, he'll start to cry again. So you lift their little arms up and dry in all their creases. Our mums would have puffed talcum powder all over us. We don't do that these days. We dry them carefully with the towel. So in all their creases, dry around the cord. So I'll try and do this while they... So 4 zeros. So you're thinking about bringing like clothes in your hospital bags, 4 zeros for this kind of size baby. So put a few different sizes in. Got the towel off, then dry carefully. So behind their knees. With boys, get their nappies on pretty quick or else they do wheeze all across the front of you. So get the nappy on pretty quick. That's just a good dry. We give you Treasures nappies in here, so you don't need to bring your own. Open it right up. Find the tabs at the back. Just stretch it right open. Stretch all the elastic. Find the tabs. Lift up their back. Put that high up their back. Up the middle of their legs. And you hold it across their belly while you do up the tabs. Do it up nice and tight so you can just get 2 fingers in between their belly. You can pull that cord clamp up out of the way when it's still on there. Then you're getting layers on them fairly quickly. You get heaps of ones of zips. And natural fibres, so we really like cotton, muslin and wool, so they don't overheat. So after the bath they will be cold, so make sure you get some layers on, and you will put hats on, booties on, and I'll show you in a second how to wrap them up. There. Hey, we're nearly there. Yeah, come on. Have you got a wrap on that? So when you're popping them down on the wrap, line their ears up with the top of the wrap. They usually have their little hands up. So put their hands across their chest. Bring one side across their body. Roll them over. So you tuck it behind their back, keeping it nice and flat so they're not lying on a big bump. He's like, I'm happy now because I'm being wrapped up. Then the other side over. Again, tuck it right behind their back. And then you've got these fishtail bit down the bottom here. Pull that up, make sure you've got a bit of room for their feet. And then do behind. And then, if they can see properly, they're just like fish and chips. Wrapped up nice. And you can see, as soon as I've got him nicely wrapped, he's calm, eh? So as soon as their little hands are tucked in, they're all nice and warm and wrapped up, then they just calm down. So really remember that tip when you're at home with a baby that's crying. If you tried to feed them, try to do lots of things, if they're still crying, think, have I got them wrapped up nice and tight? Wrap their little hands up and up with mum or dad. You can twinkle, twinkle, little star them to death. I used to hum that, and twinkle, little star is embedded in my head. So just sing, try and keep calm as much as you can. Can be tricky. But yeah, he's totally happy now. Like magic, eh? Wrapped and stop crying. They need to be wrapped up with the hat and everything. If they went to sleep, you could put them into bed, but you're checking and making sure, and do this heaps with your baby. Don't check by their face or by their forehead or by their little hands if they're out, their temperature. You actually put your fingers right down inside their clothes, right down into their chest, so you can feel their core body temperature. No, don't go by their hands and face, they're often cold. So do that heaps with your baby, and then you start to get to know their body temperature, and then you'll notice when they're cold or if they're too hot. And then you're just layering.